Welcome back. It's been a while. Um, okay, what do you think? All right. What do you think having a homogenized capital system is better than keeping everything individually rooted and authentic and retaining the essence of that act, but not putting much capital into it? Which one do you think is better? So here's my take. I think the latter is better, and I'll tell you why. Because again, you can contradict me here by saying that oh, the way to increase the essence of something and make it better is by adding money into it, by putting money into it. But the minute you put money into something, okay, this is just general human psyche, okay? I don't know much about it. I haven't studied economics, but if you have, please let me know. The minute you put money into something, it becomes commercial. And what does commercial mean for everybody? That's what it means. That's what I think it means. And for everybody, it's a good notion. It's a good thought process. It's good intent. But the minute you cater to a large crowd, your purity, your authenticity reduces, because it's not humanly possible to retain that same essence over and over again for every individual, right? It's very difficult to do that. Yeah, I don't think it's good because here's my take. Let's take the example of um as simple as the arts. I'm going to stick to the arts because that's who I am, and I'm an artist, and that's the only thing I can dissect confidently. And with the arts, one subset of the arts is filmmaking, right? That's one subset, the most commercial subset. And in filmmaking, when you put money into production, okay, as a producer, you put money, pop money into it, heaps and heaps of money, because you want to make it a commercial success. It will be a commercial success. It will 100%. But will it be an artistically critical success? Maybe, maybe not. You never know. You don't know. But that's the thing. There's no guarantee with that. Is because instead of putting all the energy into the creative process, instead of putting all the human power into the creative process, all of the money, all the human power has gone into the money aspect of it. And what do I mean by this? The minute there's lots of, because money is it's a finite resource. It's not infinite. It's a very finite resource, right? It's not accessible to everybody. It's very limited, and that's why people literally kill each other over it. That's why there's wars. That's why there's famine. That's why there's the worst thing that's happened in this world. All the worst things that you can possibly think about is all over money. And when in a film, say in a film project, again, I have never really made a film. I've made my own short film, so if that counts, you can watch that on here. By the way, it's on my channel, so please do check it out. When you make a film, there's heaps of different processes involved, from script writing to casting to costume design to set design to sound design, heaps, to choreography if there's a dance performance going on, choreography for actions as well, because they're actors at the end of the day. They're not actually living that scene, they're acting it out. So you need a choreographer for it to look well put together. There's a number of elements that's involved in the making of a film. Now, each technician, or each, again, within film production, each subset, right? Each subset, if the the team involved in it, if the creative minds involved in it were all not influenced by money, were not forced, were not manipulated, then you'd have very original processes and pieces coming out. Whatever the result, whatever the film turns out to be, it is an original, authentic work of art. That's what it is. But the minute you involve money into something, there's a mastermind who is giving the money, right? The producer who is betting on this. And the mastermind is going to start influencing how you do something because he, she, or they are putting money into it. Okay, they are the ones who are putting money into it. So obviously, you want to know where your money is going and if it's being used or wasted, right? So that's when a little bit controlling of actions takes place. And well, that's not authentic anymore. That particular action, that particular activity has no essence, pure essence left in it. And that's what I'm talking about. That we live in a very homogenized society where money intersects every industry. So there is nothing authentic left anymore. Nothing is authentic, That's what's come down to. And that is a little bit disturbing to me because we have so many masterminds, we have so many smart people on this planet. We've got so many, all of us actually, I'm not pinpointing the grades, all of us are smart in our own ways, but we're not able to put it to the best, most effective use because money is coming in the way. That's why. Somebody is probably beautiful at public speaking, but they are forced to work in a factory, for example, because they're in need, they're in urgent need of money because money runs the world, right? So, what a loss to that person. That person must be feeling trapped because, okay, obviously there is no public speaking in the factory. The maximum you can put it to use would probably be you rise up to the level of the leader. So you keep getting promoted and you get into a leadership role. But even there, that's probably not fulfilling their dream of delivering great speeches, great press conferences, you know, trying to influence minds, trying to help people. That's not going to fulfill them because they are in a position where you don't need to speak to anybody actually. There's a task, there's a chore, you got it good, get it done. It has to be perfect, neat, precision is involved. It's a different kind of labor. Okay. Their personal desired form of labor is not getting fulfilled. And that's why I think that we need to really stop chasing money. Again, I don't know how much of a difference I can make, but I'm really trying. I would love to live in a world where, first of all, money is not. Actually, sometimes I wonder. I grew up in a city, I've been raised in a city all my life. So this is only a wonder for me. It's only a hypothetical situation for me. I wonder how life in a small town, life in a village would be like. Because everything feels very, obviously, it's a village, it's less developed, there's less capital put into that area. Everything is very authentic. And the reason I come back to this is because I've only been exposed to villages or small towns for a brief period of time in my life, whenever I used to go and visit family back in the small towns. That used to be roughly a week at the max, not more than a week. But I think a week was enough for me to understand life where when money is not the driving power of every human being that lives in that town. You know what's the driving power of every human being that lives in that town or village? Peace. That's what they want. Peace, happiness, community. Yes, that's it. I think I'll end it there. Peace, happiness, community. And I think that's quite rare in today's time. In today's time, we've started chasing comfort so much, so much. We've chased comfort to a level where we've forgotten that true inner peace is very far away from comfort, actually. It's very far away from comfort. Comfort is the biggest enemy of peace to a large extent. But we don't know that, do we now? Even I didn't know that. I still don't know what I'm talking, by the way. I'm figuring it out by myself. But somewhere deep down, I feel like comfort is the biggest enemy of peace. Because when everything is comfortable in your life, when you're at utmost comfort, you're not really pushing yourself or challenging yourself to go search for something more. It's self sufficient. You become self sufficient in that zone. And when you're not searching for that something else, how do you even know that this is the end? Right? How are you supposed to know that? You're only going to know whether this is it after exploring a bunch of different things, a bunch of different lifestyles, a bunch of different connections, human connections. You've explored different food types, different cuisines, different ingredients, different. You need variety to make a choice of your own in the end, is what I feel. And when you make that choice after having variety shown to you, the level of peace you attain is much stronger than when you're in this comfortable space where everything is smooth flowing for you. Comfort is not peace. It's very often confused for peace. It's really not peace. So, what I observed in the small towns is a day in a life in a village is you get up early in the morning. By the way, you get up at 5 a.m. or 5:30, 6 a.m. sometimes. You get up as the sun rises or before sunrise even. You get up early in the morning, go through your morning chores, morning duties, whatever that is. You have your breakfast, and depends on, again, in small towns most people are either farmers or they work for government roles. This is, again, I'm talking about the Indian context because I was raised in India. So they either working in a government office, or they are farmers, or they work in a bank, or yes, or a shop. They have a private business, a textile business or a jewelry shop. It's very, people work in almost similar industries as what people work in the cities, except it's very small scale because there's less capital involved. It's very small scale. They earn limited, their salary is very limited. But to see the joy on their face, to see that joy that they go to work, they come home for lunch. You come home for your lunch break, you come have lunch with your wife, or you come have lunch with your husband. um you have lunch, and then you set off again, finish the rest of your day, come back, you have an evening snack with chai. Okay, that is the most. So whenever I used to go visit hometowns, villages, what I really loved the most is the excitement for the evening that people have. They love their evening. Everybody loves their chai or coffee, whatever part of India you're from. They love their chai and coffee in the evening with their snack, and the variety of snacks that you have access to, and the joy of just enjoying that and not thinking about what am I going to do next in my life, what am I going to do for the next meal, what am I going to, oh, I need to I shouldn't be eating this because I probably have to achieve another goal in my life. There's no thoughts. These people have no other ulterior thoughts in their mind. They're just eating, whether it's a pakoda or it's chaat or whatever you're eating. They're enjoying that in that moment, having a laugh, cracking jokes, gossiping with their friends. It's beautiful. Okay. And then that's the evening, and then you finish it off, you come home, you have an early dinner. Okay, you have an early dinner. And again, thing with villages is, for the longest time whenever I used to visit, these relatives of mine didn't really have TVs, they didn't have television. So what do you do then? There is no TV, there is no entertainment for you to view. So you have dinner, you chit chat. There's a lot of chit chat conversation that goes on. There's a lot of dialogue. um you'd read a book. If you're into reading, you'd read a book, you'd write, you'd engage in intellectually stimulating activities basically. And then you go to sleep at 10 p.m., 10:30 at the latest. You go to bed early, okay? And then you go to bed with peace and quiet around you. Because it's a village, there's less infrastructure, so there's less vehicles on the road, right? So you go to sleep, peace and quiet. All you hear is crickets in the background, you know, and that puts you to sleep. And honestly, this one day, now as a 24-year-old who's grown up and who's actually far away from it, I actually seek it. It's There's a lot of discomfort, by the way. In this entire narration that I told you, I haven't mentioned any discomfort yet. I've just given you a day in the life. Now, for somebody who's been raised in a city, the discomfort starts. Oh, first of all, I have to wake up at 5 a.m. Who wakes up at 5 a.m.? Okay. How are you going to wake up at 5 a.m. if you're scrolling till 12 in the night, right? Because we all have phones. Now, of course, in India, everybody has phones. I'm not talking about now, but just say 10, 15 years ago, okay? um, how would you wake up at 5 a.m. when you're probably, say, 15 years ago, you're probably stressing about your project submission at 12 in the night? How are you going to wake up at 5 a.m.? Okay, you wake up at 5. So that's your first discomfort. You wake up at 5 a.m. and then you you need to have breakfast, right? Again, it's a village, so you won't actually have access to all your fancy groceries. You'll only have access to fresh vegetables and fruits, and fresh meat and fresh dairy. It's fresh, it's from the land, it's direct. But you won't see that luxury because you want your cereal and you want your um again, cereal is the only thing that's coming to my mind, but you you want your packaged processed stuff because you're so used to eating that. So that's your second discomfort. You find discomfort in the fact that you have no access to processed food when you are living so close to fresh produce. Can you see the irony in that? And then the third discomfort would come when you have to go to work. And again, it's a village. So there's no public transport here, by the way. No public transport. Hell, there's barely any private transport either. People only own like scooters, one car if you're slightly wealthier in the village, but they only have scooters. So how do you go? You go by scooter or you go walking. That's the third discomfort. Have you ever moved without the assistance of another vehicle? Have you ever walked? Have you ever walked through streets that are not concrete developed, that are not spick and span, that probably have you know farm animals around because you're living next to farmland? But have you ever walked through those lanes? No, you haven't. You've only walked through roads that are concrete and clean, and there's only people on there, and there's cars and bikes and etc etc. And that's getting to work, and then and it keeps going. These are one of the four discomforts I'm pointing out that come to my mind, but the list is endless. Okay, the list is endless. And yeah, so there's all of these things that will cause discomfort, but the more you stay in that space, the more you live, the more days you live in that small town, through time you realize that, wait, this is the most peaceful life anybody can live. You're getting. And how did that start? From food, from nutrition. We are human beings, we thrive on oxygen, water, and nutrition. These three come first, then all the other external things get into the picture. And when you have fresh produce coming your way, when you have fresh air, even because there's lesser vehicles, so there's lesser pollution, there's lesser industry, so there's lesser pollution, you know you have fresh air to breathe, you have empty spaces to walk around in and potentially exercise as well because the population is less. That is you're halfway there. You're halfway there already to peace. You've already achieved half of it, half of what you want. You don't need the comfort of everyday things. You really don't. Not required. You don't need your in today's day, I would say the biggest comfort which people want is access to technology and Wi-Fi. So you don't need that actually. You don't need it. You don't need your phone. You don't need your tablet. You don't need your laptop. You don't need your TV. You don't need Wi Fi. You don't need um, the internet. You don't need any of that. But we still need it, right? Because it's become so part of us that we can't imagine a life without these things. But that life without these things is what the ultimate peace would look like. And that's what I was getting to, that everything is so homogenized in today's day that we've sort of run very far away from peace. And only people in small towns, people in, say, smaller countries where those countries are not that. I wouldn't count India anymore. India used to once be the land where, you can find lesser infrastructure or lesser industrialization, but not anymore because India is also running the race, right? We're all running the race. We want to win it. Everyone wants to win the race. So unfortunately, India is also not there. Maybe you'll find pockets in India where you still find society disconnected from the internet, disconnected from all the progress that's happening. They're in their own little bubble. But those people are truly at peace. They're so happy with their life. They don't even care what's going on in the cities. They don't care what's um actually, you know what? They don't really care about climate crisis because they're not adding to it. They're not causing it. They're living in their sustainable small bubble community. Everything is there, interdependent, sustainable. Nobody is, what do you call it? Nobody is dominated by the other. Everybody is living in a community and they respect each other. Honestly, I don't see that in the place I am in right now. And it's no comment on the place, but it's the growing world. First world countries, I don't think you'll ever see it there. Um, so yeah, that's my take on why I think that capital needs to stop being added to every single thing in our life, because then the true essence of it is lost. It's truly lost, and there's no reason for us to chase what we want anymore because, oh, it's not giving capital. Why should I not do it? Like nowadays, people have stopped having hobbies or personal clock out times because they think that everything needs to be transferred into a monetizing action. Like, oh, I draw in my pastime. Oh my god, I need to start putting my drawings in the nearest market. I need to start making money out of it. I need to put my drawings on Etsy. I need to put my drawings on Instagram. Like, okay, yeah, Instagram is okay because Instagram is also a place for expression, but the approach that everything needs to be monetized is not necessary, guys. Just enjoy life. You don't have to monetize everything, okay? You need to take a minute, breathe in, breathe out, appreciate where you are, be grateful for all the hard work you've put in, and just enjoy this moment because that's what it's all about. Thank you.